Hi, this is Brett from IT News. I'm here with Andy Lewis-Candle from the Smith family. We're here to talk about cloud computing today in the run-up to the event. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks a lot.
Can you give me a little bit of a rundown, first of all, on the general theme of what you'll be discussing at the event?
Well, I think what we would like to talk about is the trends involved in moving integrated systems to the cloud rather than more tactical applications. So it's really ERP to the cloud, if you wanted to put a label on it. So that's what we would like to explore.
Most of the earliest applications that organisations are taking to the cloud have been, email and collaboration and test and dev and these kind of simpler tools. What are some of the complications once you start looking at integrated systems in the cloud?
Well, there are a number of technological constraints, but there are also market-based constraints as well. So technologically, in terms of customizing the package for different requirements, that remains a challenge, although good progress is being made. Processing performance on the back end and really channeling this through to the end user in a good way. There are other issues in terms of integration challenges than with other applications and whatnot. Market-based challenges really include the deployment options. The licensing obviously is a big issue in terms of the larger ERP vendors, moving their services to the cloud. What does this mean to the ongoing support and maintenance fee structures? And the list continues. So there are a range of constraints that will need to be overcome.
So the likes of SAP and Oracle, they've had web-based versions of their apps so far, but cloud-based versions, purely on-demand versions. I understand SAP has tried with business intelligence. That's something you've got a bit of experience with. How easy is it to take BI to the cloud, and what are some of the technology and market constraints specifically around BI?
Well, it's possible. So what we tried to do was, BI on the cloud, and it is possible. The challenge we found was really customizing based on different customer requirements. So that was a challenge in our case, but there are ways to architect cloud applications so that they are quite agile and quite adaptive. So I think that challenge will ultimately be overcome. I think the important issue there, though, is a market-based constraint in terms of traditional licensing models, and how does this then all transition to the cloud. I think that's probably going to be one of the bigger issues.
Okay, so if you were about to come towards the end of your license for an ERP or BI product, say you've been in a 3 or 5 year cycle or something, and you're looking 12 months ahead, what would you be saying right now to your systems integrator or to the ERP vendor to make sure that there is a possibility of moving ahead into this kind of space?
I think it's inevitable that ERP will move to the cloud increasingly. It's a timing issue. So I think that all of those constraints, whether they're technological in nature or market-based, they will be overcome. And I think that over time, customers, will want to have that choice. Not only the smaller companies that are already moving more to the cloud than compared to the mid-sized and the large enterprise clients, but it's a great opportunity, isn't it? It's about competition, it's about new architecture. So I think that the traditional ERP vendors will increasingly find themselves, in a position whereby they just have to respond. There's not going to be a choice for them. And if you look at, what's happening, it's essentially moving. It's moving slowly, much more slowly than many industry commentators assumed, a few years ago. But it's moving. So I think it's inevitable. It's really about timing.
Can you detail for us some of the licensing changes, software licensing changes? What will be the new model that's going to flesh out from this?
I think that clients prefer simplicity. On whether that ultimately will be delivered remains to be seen. But software as a service is quite simple. So you got a user-based subscription fee. You are purchasing the software as a service, so you don't own the software, so you don't have a stake in it as such. You just consume it on a monthly basis. You can scale up, you can scale down. So it's a very flexible model. So I think that most of the software as a service players in the ERP space will adopt that approach. Really keep it very simple, and that probably also differentiates the model then from the more traditional on-premise place in the market. And over time, I would see the large ERP companies then also swinging behind that model. But when that is going to happen, who knows? But I don't think it's going to be short term. I think it's going to take years.
Do you think that the likes of NetSuite and Salesforce are already taking customers from Oracle and Oracle and SAP at the moment?
I mean, clearly. I mean, in the small to medium enterprise space, clearly, they are doing well and they are growing their business. I think it's a mixed picture there. I mean, because of the global downturn and whatnot, I mean, everybody took a little bit of hit there. But if you look at the software as a service place, like the NetSuite you mentioned, I mean, they are doing, relatively well. And SAP and Oracle are clearly moving, into the cloud world. So again, I think I come back to what I said. It's really more about timing rather than if.
I guess one of the challenges is that a lot of companies have seen software like ERP as a competitive differentiator. They spend so much investment in getting their implementation right for their company, and they would probably shy away from the thought that they would be getting a generic off-the-shelf package that company B down the road can have as well. Are there any ways that you've seen that software vendors are allowing them to overcome that, where you actually get to customize in the cloud?
I don't think so. I think it's similar to business strategy. Like in the past, you had the business strategy of an organization locked up in a safe somewhere, and then people slowly realized, well, I mean, even if we make it public, I mean, this is so unique to us. This is so unique to our circumstances and to the way and how we operate that it doesn't really matter. And I think the same is going to happen with software as a service. So what makes the software special is the specific way and how it is being used, within a particular environment, how the people are taking advantage of, the capabilities. So I don't really think that's a big issue. The bigger issue is that larger enterprises and mid-sized enterprises have spent, a lot of time and also money to customize their on-premise ERP applications, and I can't see that moving to the cloud too quickly. So again, we come back to timing. Are software as a service ERP solutions quite, are they adaptive, sufficiently adaptive? Can they be customized in a very flexible way? Perhaps not yet, but they will be. So again, I think, it's not going to be a constraint in the long run. The question is, how is this all going to transition over time?
Okay, great. Well, thank you for your thoughts, Andy. I really look forward to your presentation at the show.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Okay, see you. Bye.